Okay, now, I mean, one sees a child who, for example, has a great difficulty with either relationships or a difficulty with understanding reading or something like that, or with language or whatever. And there is a task here, but how do you do this with adults? I mean, if I can come back to you, Amanda, what sort of school did you go to?
I went to a normal. I went to a primary school and then a comprehensive.
Not in Bournemouth, I gather.
No, in West Yorkshire.
Yeah, I thought it was. I got the county right, but okay. So you went through school, and you went to comprehensive school
and college. It's same primary and comprehensive as me primary school as my mum went, my grandma went, my mum went.
Right.
My nieces now, go and that there's one of them still is at that comprehensive is one of them even now.
Okay, so you've got a family connection with that school.
Oh yeah.
So, what did they say was your particular disability aspect?
I think there's mild on reading and other thing.
Right. Okay, because I mean, what's quite clearly you've got a lot of drive and you've got a lot of confidence, which, from what I've seen, many people who have been through an education system that from which they have not come out with glowing lots of stars or certificates feel a failure. And how is it that you have? I don't know. Where did you get this confidence and this from?
Right from early on, I mean, if health and different professionals had their way, I would have just gone special need way. But Mum and another counsellor fought for me to go to the same as them and my cousin.
Right.
And their support, we wonderful parents' support, and other family members. I have been fairly the same as all my cousins, and that despite having been a bit behind with them, I suppose in relationships or me maturity, grasping things.
Right.
But still. Live it. Still, I've always worked. I've gone to ordinary college. I've always worked. I've got my own flat and engaged like a lot of others, everybody else out in the real world. But,
clearly, tell me something. You say you went to ordinary college. What did you study at college?
Well, it was like a vocation, a vocational course, and you learnt social studies and English and maths. Because we got a certificate where you had to pass three things: maths, English, and social studies when you took your exams.
Right. Well, that's brilliant. Okay, let me ask Jenny a question or two. Jenny, when you say there's a wide range, so if you have somebody, say, with Asperger's syndrome, would that fit into your the group you might be functioning with or wanting to provide support for?
It could. I mean, there has to be some sort of learning disability within one of our members, but we've got over 530 members on our database in Bournemouth.
Right. So, I mean, you're going to have an enormous breadth, aren't you?
And I mean, their needs range quite dramatically. So we work with all different needs.
Yes, I mean, children can be pretty cruel to somebody who has learning difficulties, and adults, I mean, they're less directly cruel, but they almost sort of phase. If people don't know how to deal or how to respond to someone, they just sort of shy off, don't they? Isn't that what happens?
Possibly sometimes. I mean, I think
If I could just
Yeah.
say something, this is very much part of what our training is about,
Yes.
helping people to understand about what it is to having a learning disability, because it is, very wide and is different for everyone. So our training, yes, is about helping people to understand, and then helping them to have the confidence so that they know how to talk to people, how to approach them, and how to help them sort of get on and do what they want to do.
Okay, now, how did you, for instance, get into this? Because in order to talk and train people about awareness, you need to be aware yourself. Yes?
I suppose, I have experience from the years that I've worked with Bournemouth People First, and before that with a similar charity. I'm trained as a trainer, so that's sort of where my experience comes from.
Okay, jump back a bit. There was you as a little girl at school, and then you went through on with your studies. How did you get into this line of training, for example? Or did you start thinking down the teaching line, or what?
I did actually start, thinking down the teaching line, but I got into this work after I'd taken a career break. When I had my children,
Yeah.
I went back to work, and
you went back to work as what?
I went back to work working for Poole Forum, which is a charity like Bournemouth People First,
Yeah.
but in Poole. And I wanted to do something where I felt I was helping people and contributing. So
did you have any specific training yourself, or any particular range of skills that you brought to this?
I think I hopefully had some sort of personal skills that helped me to understand people, to talk to them, and work with people. I think
So that's the key bit you're looking for in your volunteers, is it? The ability to relate to people?
it could be the ability to relate to people. Yes, it would be one of a range of things that we're looking for. Jenny, do you want to
Come on,
add a
Jenny.
bit about that?
Yeah, I think with the volunteers we're looking for, we're just looking for people that are friendly and that maybe just want to make a difference to somebody's life, really. So,
Okay.
and if they've got interests and they can just go with that person if they've got the same interests, and they can do it together. So
Right,
it's about...
you might have a couple of people who are really interested in, I don't know, marquetry or in cooking or something like that, and you'll pair them up, is that right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, or someone who likes to go to the football, who would be happy to take someone with them.
Yeah,
Right.
or music or anything like
There's a
that.
few people what like to be like what you do, Simon.
Yeah.
A lot of people that we got DJ. We got people what are DJs like yourself. Oh no.
Actually, I'd never categorise myself as a DJ because it's the worst. What I love is talking to people and finding out what makes them tick, which, of course, on this show is wonderful. Okay, but so let me ask Jenny. You got into this line because again, the same thing. Once upon a time, there was a little girl at school. How did you become this bit?
Well, when I was younger, I wanted to do youth work, but I had to take a little break before I could qualify to do that. And while I was taking my break, I decided I'd study the whole range of community, and so I studied a community development degree.
Yep.
And while
Whereabouts?
At Bournemouth University.
Oh, right, yeah.
And while I was there, we did placements. And my first placement was with Bournemouth People First.
Mm-hmm.
So I did 3 months' work there just to see what it was like. And I absolutely loved it. And 5 years later, I'm still here. So
You've got a big brownie birthday top. Does that mean you're a brownie leader?
it is, yes, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, there's some... did that have any impact or influence, or did that just sort of set... Presume because you started off as a brownie, where you're very much... a lot of the ethos behind that is to help people and be supportive within your community, isn't it? Starting as a brownie and going on through guides, etc.
Yes, yeah. And I think probably it all helps. I mean, with the brownies and things, we've Amanda's actually done learning disability awareness training with some of our brownies as well.
Right.
So she's delivered the training to lots of different ages as well.
They had to get a disability badge, didn't they?
Oh, yes.
Yes.
Okay. Now, Amanda, tell me about this. When you're working with children, what's it like? You know, 'cause you go into them and you say, what do you say? Some people have disabilities, or I have a disability, or have you noticed? How do you start it off? Imagine I'm a sort of a 9-year-old girl. I mean, I obviously don't look like one, but how would you start off one of your sessions?
Well, I like just in an approachable way, just be myself and say who I am and where I'm from.
Right.
And like what we do, and hopefully they find us, like interesting, and
Okay, so what is the sort of reaction from children to an adult saying they have learning difficulties? Are they amused? Do they laugh? Are they worried? Or what?
Because of innocence, some, might be like giggling, but they generally giggle about general things anyway, don't they, young? But they don't mean to be whatever.
I think a lot of people don't notice as well when they're younger.
Oh, no.
I think they just see a person rather than...
because you're a grown-up.
Yeah, they don't make a quick judgment like their parents made.
Okay, now, when you say about your range, there's people with a very wide range of disabilities, what's the sort of most extreme... I mean, how not extreme, if you like, does somebody need to be in order to train others up? Or can any person with a disability train others?
Well, I think we're looking for any person with a learning disability who would like to learn some skills to be a trainer and have the experience of helping to train volunteers. We're going to give our trainers training so that they're able to do that. They're going to be working with the same group of people with each training program that they take part in, and before each training session we'll be giving them some extra support before we get started so that they're fully prepared for it.
Okay. I'm just thinking, one of the things that immediately sort of comes to mind is, would a lot of the people with learning disabilities be considered as vulnerable adults?
They could be.
So
yes.
Does that mean you'd have to go through a sort of disclosure procedure to make sure you are a suitable person before you do this? I mean, I just think, with a lot of working with children, you have to go through this process in churches or organisations like the Browners.
Yeah. Each of the volunteers, because we'll interview them and we'll find out more about them, and then part of my role is to make sure, to do a DBS check on them, just to make sure that they're suitable to work with vulnerable people.
Yes.
And we're also going to have references as well, so just to see what the person's like from them. So